If you're a busy dental entrepreneur, I know December can feel like an absolute sprint to the finish line. But what if the most important decisions for the next 3 years are the ones you make right now? It all starts with one simple question.
This is really the heart of it all. Are you in the driver's seat of your financial future, calling the shots, or are you just reacting to whatever lands on your desk that day? That distinction is absolutely critical. You see, December isn't just about closing the books for the year. It's this unique strategic window. Decisions you make right now about your practice, we're talking entity structure, compensation, where you put your capital, those choices will compound in a huge way over the next 1, 2, even 3 years. So the whole point here is to get you thinking about the right questions. That way, when you walk into a meeting with your CPA, your attorney, or your wealth advisor, the conversation completely flips. It goes from discovery to execution. You're not asking them, hey, what should I do? You're telling them, this is what I want to accomplish. Trust me, that shift is a total game changer.
Okay, let's dive into two of the big ones, your personal investments and your retirement plan. And we're going to challenge some of the common assumptions people have right here.
So question number 1, who is actually flying the plane? When it comes to your day-to-day portfolio decisions, are you still in the pilot seat or have you handed the controls over to a professional? Now, there's no one right answer here, but the reason you're doing what you're doing, well, that's what really matters.
And check out this trend, it's pretty fascinating. We're seeing a 10-point drop from over 64% down to 54% in just a single year. More and more affluent investors are choosing to delegate. And why is that? Well, think about it. For a practice owner, the opportunity cost of tinkering with your stock portfolio instead of focusing on growing your actual business, it's just massive.
So this is the real gut check question. Did you actively choose your current setup because it's the absolute best strategy for you today? Or is it just a habit, something you've held on to from way back when your practice was smaller and, you had a little more time on your hands? It's important to be honest with yourself on that one.
All right, let's switch gears to question number 2. And this one is all about confidence. When you look at your retirement plan, how certain are you, really, that it's going to deliver the income you actually expect when you need it?
Now, on the surface, everything looks great. I mean, a recent study shows that over 90% of investors are confident they'll have enough money for retirement. But, and this is a big but, feeling confident and being certain are two very, very different things.
And this right here is the key takeaway. Confidence? Well, that's an emotion. It's a feeling. Certainty, on the other hand, is the result of a rigorous, disciplined process. Your plan might look fantastic on a sunny day, but has it been tested for a Category 5 hurricane? That's the real question.
This is exactly where those generic off-the-shelf retirement plans completely fall apart. They don't account for the unique risks you face. A huge chunk of your net worth is tied up in one illiquid asset, your practice. So have you actually modeled what happens if your valuation multiple gets squeezed at sale? Or if it takes you way longer than expected to find an associate? Or what if a major payer cuts reimbursements for 2 years straight? See, these are the scenarios that can actually make or break your retirement.
Okay, so let's build on that and move to our next section. We're going to shift a little bit from just retirement to the wider world of financial risks, and, this is key, how they connect directly to your personal exit timeline.
So I want you to think for a second about the risks that are actually on your radar right now. The things that might keep you up at night. This third question is all about asking, are you watching the right storms?
This slide just shows the disconnect perfectly. On the one hand, you have what general investors worry about, inflation, taxes, the market going up and down. But for you as a practice owner, your biggest threats are these enterprise-level risks. Things like having too many patients from one insurance payer, being too dependent on a key employee, or sudden regulatory changes. Any one of these can hit your net worth way harder than a dip in the S&P 500.
And that brings us to our final question, which really ties everything together. It's not just about what risks you're watching. It's about making sure your investment strategy is perfectly aligned with how close you are to actually selling your practice and retiring.
The logic here is pretty simple, but it's so powerful. If you're planning to transition within the next 5 years, a big drop in your personal portfolio is a massive problem. You have to focus on preserving your capital. But if you're 10 or more years out, being too conservative can actually be just as risky, because inflation will slowly eat away at your purchasing power. Your strategy has to be a deliberate choice, not just a default setting.
So, we've asked 4 pretty tough questions, right? Well, the good news is there's a professional discipline that's designed specifically to answer them with clarity and confidence, and it's called stress testing.
I want you to think of it like a financial fire drill. Seriously, you intentionally simulate these worst-case scenarios. The market crashes, interest rates go through the roof, a key associate quits, to see if your financial plan, your legal docs, and your whole advisory team structure can actually hold up under pressure. It's all about finding the cracks in the foundation before the earthquake hits.
And listen, this doesn't have to be some massive, intimidating overhaul. A comprehensive stress test looks at the big picture, how all the different pieces of your financial life work together. But a focused stress test can be much simpler. It can just isolate one single thing, like double-checking if the assumptions your retirement plan is built on are even still valid today.
And let's be really clear about something. Stress testing isn't for people who think something is already broken. It's for people who understand that the cost of being wrong is just too high to risk it. The wealthiest families have been doing this for generations. As a practice owner, your business is the engine of your wealth, and it deserves that exact same level of rigor.
So this brings us right back to where we started. The whole goal of asking these 4 questions is to help you make a fundamental shift in your mindset before you walk into those year-end meetings with your advisors.
And really, it all boils down to this one powerful idea. Are you just reacting to market news and whatever recommendations get thrown at you? Or are you intentionally designing and building the future that you want? Answering these 4 questions is what makes that critical shift possible. So as we wrap this up, the final question isn't for me to answer. It's for you. After thinking all of this through, what is the one conversation you are now going to lead with your advisory team before this year is over? Because your answer to that, well, it could change everything.